The Outlanders Journey. Tier 1, Level 0. Chapter 24. Rage, Bach. Unleash that yearning which you've bottled away. Reawaken that which you have forgotten. Your mother caressing your face as you are pulled away by unknown hands. You screaming and writhing and clawing at her receding form. Be good, she says before letting go, and you are taken far, far away. In those early days, your despair and loneliness often turned to bursts of raw fury. During such bouts, you had no body. You were empty, no more than manic energy, intent on obliterating everything in your vicinity. And when you would awaken, Mr. Sanos' sturdy embrace would rock you back and forth in his lap while singing Mama's nightly lullaby. Around you, broken chairs, torn books and papers, claw marks gouged deep into the walls. Mr. Sanos, whose arms were bleeding and clothes were torn, cooing and humming, stroking your hair. Your nails were drenched in blood, the skin on your fingertips shredded apart, and flowing out of your eyes were blood-soaked tears. Everything is hot. The ceiling is spinning. By your feet is a man on all fours, his face distorted, taking on a monstrous appearance, howling with discordant laughter. "Kill him," you hear. The man puts his arms up, cackling maniacally as he reaches toward you like he is about to take you away again. It was him. He was your enemy all along, the one who stole you from Mama. You charge at him, roaring. Through his contorted laughing, the man whispers to you, but you can't hear what twisted words he must be saying. You tackle him to the ground, grinding his head against the dirt, dagger in hand. You feel him resisting you, grasping your face, still speaking to you, and for a moment you notice fear in his eyes, and the laughter subsides, and you hear, "Please, Bach, please!" But you plunge the dagger into his stomach. He gasps. His arms fall to his sides, and hot, wet blood begins to spill through his clothes. You straddle him, hands still pinning his chest down. The blood pools onto the floor, warm as it flows to your knees. In your periphery, you spot a small person, their form shifting and bending in the shadows. You still hear howling laughter below you. You look down at the man. His body is somehow motionless, but his mouth hangs wide open, cackling. Why hasn't he stopped laughing at you? "Bach," you hear. Mr. Sanos, the only voice you recognize. You turn around. "Shh," he says, smiling at you. Not laughing, just smiling. He kneels and pats your shoulder. "Stop now. It's done." You gaze back down at the laughing man's grotesque visage, shrieking at you in both delight and agony. Mr. Sanos begins to hum that little lullaby again. He sways to the melody, squeezing your shoulder. You know the lyrics. "Let the winds and waters guide me to the land of Silvanus, my forest, my sanctuary." He never sings the words, but you do in your head. The heat in your body fades, and the distorted walls and furniture and floor stabilize. The howling laughter dissipates. The invisible, whirling energy all around you calms. You blink at Mr. Sanos, who caresses your face. You glance down at the man again, the dagger impaled into his abdomen, and your eyes travel up his body to his face, and in your recognition, a dawning horror seizes you. "Laurel?" you mumble. His eyes are closed, mouth agape, completely silent. An ache begins to travel through your fingers to your forearms. Your calves are drenched in his blood. "Laurel?" You begin shaking uncontrollably. "Laurel?" "Shh, Bach, shh." Sanos pulls you away by the arms. "He was threatening to kidnap you again. You were only acting in self-defense." He leans forward, touching 2 fingers to Laurel's neck, just below the jawline. Laurel's eyes pop open, and you and Mr. Sanos both jump back. Eyes locking onto Mr. Sanos, he breathily hisses an incantation, and his hands begin to crackle with electricity. He grabs Mr. Sanos by the wrist. Mr. Sanos screams, and you watch his skin instantly burn black, splitting open as the electricity runs up his entire arm. Go now, Laurel yells hoarsely. He clutches his stomach as he rolls onto his knees. Gasping for air, he pushes himself up, limping towards the stairs, the blood leaking through his fingers. A ray of cold, blue energy shoots out, hitting Mr. Sanos in the thigh. Maya Lee appears all of a sudden, rushing to Laurel and pulling him to his feet as they hobble towards the stairs. "Buck!" she shouts. "Come on!" You rise to your feet, remembering what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to leave. Laurel is supposed to take you, because you told him you wanted to go. He's only taking you away because you agreed to it. You rush after the two of them, wiping away your tears. You look over your shoulders back at Mr. Sanos, clutching his arm, screaming in pain as he tries to drag himself towards the three of you. "Get back here," he shouts. Laurel is stumbling up the stairs, barely able to hold himself upright. You can see light spilling in from the top. You chase after them, ready to lift Laurel into your arms. But before you can, your body stiffens all of a sudden, and you can't move anymore. Your hands still reaching out towards Laurel, you see that the other two are also frozen in place, their legs trembling. You try to tear away, but the force is too strong, holding you in place. You hear limping and the dragging of feet behind you. Mr. Sanos' hands grab your wrist. "Come now. Enough of this, my boy. I've taught you better than this. Think of how disappointed Mama will be. Let's go back." He pulls. "Be good," you hear Mama say again. You can't even blink right now. Your eyes stare up at the light. It's so close. Please. You attempt to clench your jaw. You feel your arm getting pulled down. No. You focus all of your energy on that arm, ripping yourself away. Pull. You yank yourself away, suddenly able to move again. "No!" you shout, spinning around. "You lied to me! You lied about everything!" His eyes widen as he stares at you, fearful for the first time. The next thing you know, you've grabbed him by the throat, and before he can muster a response, you shove him down the stairs, his arms flailing and grasping for the railings. He shrieks as he tumbles down the staircase, landing on the ground with a horrid crack. Behind you, Laurel and Maya Lee gasp, collapsing to the floor. You turn to them, and they stare at you for a moment, and they look past you. You turn again, peering down at Mr. Sanos, his body twitching, a leg bent in the wrong direction. This was the man who raised you, the one who took you in. When you try to picture your father's face, you can no longer remember what he looked like, seeing instead Mr. Sanos' visage. "Miss... Papa?" you hear yourself say. You take one step down. "Papa?" Something pops. A hot red light whizzes down past your shoulder, striking Mr. Sanos' skull. Blood gushes out of his forehead. His body goes still. You look up to see Laurel pointing a bloodied finger toward the bottom of the stairs, deep abhorrence in his eyes. He shifts his gaze to you, almost glaring. "There's no time," he says coldly in a low, growling voice. "We need to go." Maya Lee grabs your hands. "Come on!" she shouts. You blink, trying your best to tear your eyes from the sight of Mr. Sanos lying dead. You clasp your hands around Maya Lee's, tears welling again. You must go. It's time to go. Go! You hear the sound of Laurel limping up the stairs, and you're jolted back to reality. You rush to him and grab him, hoisting him up into your arms. You run. You pass the bookshelf, emerging into the bright light, dashing to the front door. Laurel reaches out his hand, twisting the doorknob as you carry him, and you kick the door open. Sunlight, a purple sky, The mountains, tall grasses, the rough ground beneath your bare feet, the smell of fresh, tilled soil, the weight of Laurel's frail body in your arms, his blood dripping down your legs, Miley's hand gripping your ragged shirt, your breath, your parched, dry throat, the silence of the house behind you. Overwhelming all of these sensations is the feeling of lost time, an entire childhood now past. You're finally out. "This way," breathes Laurel, pointing towards the tall, dried grasses to your right. With a leap, Miley lets go of you and sprints ahead. You pick up your feet once more, racing after her, but you turn to take one more look at the house, the front door wide open, swinging with the breeze. It looks homely and inviting, but all you keep seeing is Mr. Sanos' mangled body. He warned you all this time. You're a danger, a monster. You don't deserve to leave. You don't deserve Mama. As you collide into the grasses, you see a vision of Mama, arms wide open, and you rush to her before her face contorts with revulsion. "What are you? What have you become?"